Yordenis Ugas. And the broadcast, the pay-per-view broadcast will come your way at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. The broadcast and the fights are being promoted by TGB Promotions and Man Down Promotions, which is an affiliate of Errol Spence Jr. Tickets for these fights are on sale right now, and they can be purchased at SeatGeek.com. Again, SeatGeek.com, which is the official ticket provider of AT&T Stadium. Before we get to the main event that night, we've got 3 fights coming to you. One in the welterweight division, a couple in the lightweight division of some big name fighters. And that's what we're going to get into here. We're going to talk to all of the fighters here, and we're going to allow you members of the media to ask some questions. All you have to do is hit the raise your hand bar there on the Zoom. And Mitch Abramson, who, of course, with Showtime Sports, he's going to acknowledge you, and you can ask your question to the fighters. But let's talk about April 16th, because we'll begin the pay-per-view broadcast with welterweights. Cody Crawley. They call him the Crippler. He's unbeaten, 20-0. He's got 9 knockouts. Listen, the last time we saw him back in December, and oh, what a boxing lesson he put on and certainly shocked an unbeaten Kudratillo Abdukokorov. Well, he will be fighting a guy who has certainly fought some of the biggest names, not only in boxing, but certainly in the welterweight division, in Josecito Lopez, the Riverside Rocky. You know him, 38-8. He's got 21 knockouts as well. So, guys, let's get right into this fight. And, Cody, I got to start with you because, listen, the last time we saw you, that was December. And, man, you not only went toe-to-toe with Abdukokorov, but gave him a boxing lesson and gave him his first defeat. What did that victory do for your confidence going into this fight?
You know what? It didn't really change my confidence at all. I've had the same confidence since day one when I came into this sport. Every time I step in the ring, what did I say at the press conference for the last fight? Someone throw this man some water wings, because I'm going to take him in the deepest waters he's ever been in, and we're going to see if he's going to sink or swim. And what you've seen was a guy who was sinking and drowning for his life, to the point where his ear blew open, you know? That right there is called high power pressure. And that's what I produce every single time I get in the ring. It looks easy. Guys say the same thing, you know, they're going to get in there, go toe to toe. And within the first round or two, their backs are on the ropes, and it doesn't end well for them. So I'm very excited for this fight. I got a guy who's going to be coming forward, who's ready to sit there and bang it out. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bring the fans the entertainment that they're paying for, their hard-earned money that they've worked for all year long, and they're spending on these tickets. Every time Cody Crawley fights, I make sure that they're getting their money's worth. So this, you know, it's not even about me. This is for the fans, the support, the networks, everything that has to come together in order for us fighters to have opportunities like this. Even Lopez, you know, the guy I'm fighting, I thank this man. You know, without him, I wouldn't be able to go in this ring and paint the beautiful picture that I'm about to paint. It takes 2 to tango. So hats off to him. I respect him. But when that bell rings, you know, there's a light switch that goes off in me, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
Well, you said you respect him, but you also said Josecito is going to discover what 20 fighters before him have learned. And what is that?
That's basically a pressure that's going to... It's not fun. It is very not fun when you get into a position where you can't breathe, when you can't move your legs, when you can't move your hands. And that's exactly what I do. I'm like an octopus in that ring. I get on someone and I'm on them like glue. And I'm punching too. So you got power, you got speed, you got aggression, and 20-0, same thing. The guys in front of me have always said they're going to be able to withstand the pressure, but at the end of the day, the pipes burst.
Josecito, you heard him. He says that he's going to bring the pressure, and all of his opponents before him have not been able to live up to that pressure. Talk to me about what we should expect when you get in the ring with Cody Crawley.
Well, everyone should expect fireworks. Every fight that I'm in, it's fireworks. So Crawley seems to be that type of fighter, the exact fighter that I like facing. So I know it's going to be a great match, and you'll see a big difference in experience. And I'm gonna take those deep waters and I'm gonna drown them in those deep waters.
Josecito, listen. I mean, you haven't suffered a defeat in like 3 years. Since that time, you've come with back-to-back wins. I was reading up on what some people have written about this fight, and I guess the question that keeps coming up is: Josecito Lopez still a top fighter at 147 pounds?
Yeah, that may be the question. You'll see on the 16th. I'm definitely ready. I feel great. I've had a wonderful camp. I'm in camp now, away from home. I take no shortcuts. I'm all in, and I'm ready for the biggest fight. And I take every fight like a championship fight.
Cody, it seems to me, listening to Josecito, he's basically saying there's levels to this game, and his experience is going to be the difference, considering of all of the people that he has fought. Your response to that?
Thank you. Please bring another level of experience. Put me in a position that I have never, ever been in, that I don't think I can possibly get out. So the best version of Cody Crawley can come out. That's what I strive for every single fight. I want to fight the best fighters. I want to be put in positions where I don't think that I can get out of. That is where you're going to see the magic happen. That's where you're going to see what someone is truly made out of. I've sacrificed so much. I've left my country. I've left my family, friends, missed weddings. I've missed best friends' funerals. I've gave up everything in my life to become a world champion. That's the road that I'm on. And I'm continuing that road until I become a world champion. And this is another person who's standing in front of me who is a catalyst. So I expect him to bring a level that I haven't seen before. That's what a catalyst is. A catalyst is an obstacle put in front of you for you to jump higher. So thank you, Lopez. I appreciate you.
Josecito, my last question to you is, listen, at the top of this card, we've got two of the best in the welterweight division. After this fight, where do you see Josecito Lopez in that welterweight division? And ultimately, what would you want next after Cody Crawley?
You know what? I'm the type of fighter that doesn't look ahead of my next opponent. I devoted my last 8 weeks of training camp getting ready for this opponent. So I'm not looking far ahead. I got a task on the 16th. Once I take care of that, then we could look ahead. But I definitely want to face the best fighters there is, the best fighters in the world. And I won't even go as far as saying I'm the best fighter in the world, but I can beat some of the best fighters in the world. And I want to prove that.
Well, listen, I know a number of members of the media have got some questions for both of you guys, so let's get right to them. Mitch Abramson was going to join us now. And for members of the media, again, hit the raise your hand icon here on the Zoom. He will acknowledge you, and then you can unmute yourself and ask your question to either Josecito or Cody. Mitch?
Thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate it. Let's see please raise your hand if you have any questions. Let's go with Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene. Go ahead, Jake.
Great. Thank you very much, Mitch. Cody, my first question is for you. How important was it for you not just to take on this tough assignment with Josecito Lopez, but to be on a card where it's stacked with a lot of top welterweights, where this could be your potential opponents in the very near future?
It's very important for me. The opportunity, the spotlight, the network, the amount of viewers that I'll be getting for this fight. This is exactly what I need in my career. everybody inside the boxing game, as far as the top fighters in the world, they know who Cody Crowley is. I've been in the ring with over 25 world champions, and the greatest fighters in the world know who Cody Crowley is, and they've been to war with Cody Crowley. The only people who don't know is the audience. That's due to certain positions that I've been put in, roadblocks that have been put in front of me. But what do? I continue to keep working hard and keep winning. Even before my last fight, I was cardless, walking to the gym, going in there facing the number one contender, and I go knock him off like it's nothing, and then I come in the rankings as number 14 or 15. It doesn't make sense to me, but what do I got to do? I just got to keep going and keep winning. Eventually, the right opportunity is going to come, and people are going to realize that I'm here to stay, and I am the real deal.
Very cool, Cody. Thank you so much. And then, Josecito, my question for you: just hearing everything that Cody has to say, how motivating is it for you that guys, they keep turning to you as like this gatekeeper? Like he wants greatness, but he knows he has to survive a tough test in you to get there.
Well, it's motivating. I've been motivated this entire camp. I'm ready. I'm expecting, the best in Crawley. I'm more than prepared. I have a great team, a great sparring partners that can be top welterweights as well. So I'm definitely prepared, and I'm going to prove it to the world and show everyone that I am one of the best fighters in the world.
Gotcha. Thanks, Josecito. Thank you, Cody, and looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Let's now hear from James Bell from Boxing Source. Go ahead, James. Go ahead, James. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks, James Bell of Boxing Source. First question for Cody Crowley. I know that you scored that big win over Kuchatil Abdulkakarov, but you also had before that 3 consecutive wins where you pretty much shut out those opponents in unanimous decision victories. Kind of like going to how you like show your boxing skill, and that for any fans of the sport, like how they could when they tune into this fight, where you'll be able to showcase your boxing skill against Josecito Lopez.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm a fighter. I'm a scrappy, hard-working, pressure fighter that just keeps coming forward. But I would really love to be able to showcase a little bit of my boxing abilities. Normally, I'm having to chase people down. I have a feeling with Lopez that I'm hoping that isn't what's going to have to happen. I'm hoping he's standing right there. We can go toe to toe and bang it out. But at the same time, I would love to be able to not chase my opponent around and use some of my boxing abilities that not everybody has seen.
Gotcha. And next question here for Josecito. You did score, consecutive victories, TKO victories here in your previous 2 fights, including against John Molina Jr. But this is your second consecutive fight here at AT&T Stadium. But you have had some time between this fight and your last fight. Like, how good are you feeling coming into this particular bout as far as like preparing for this bout on April 16th?
I'm feeling great. I prepared well. I've been training. I'm always in the gym, so I've been training constantly. Sometimes a little rest is good, but I've been sparring training throughout this whole year, so that won't be an issue. I'm excited to be back at AT&T Stadium, Texas, where I have some of the biggest and best fans out there. So I'm pumped for this fight. I'm definitely ready. I'm 110% ready, and I'm going to go out there and do it.
Thanks you, and thanks to Cody. See y'all April 16th.
Thank you. See you there.
Thanks. Great question, Brian. We're not going to move on to the next undercard fighters. I believe Jose and Francisco are on the call.
Okay.
So we'll move on.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Cody. Thank you, Josecito. Again, that's going to be the first fight that will open the pay-per-view broadcast. The unbeaten Cody Crawley, 20-0, 9 knockouts. Listen, they call him the Crippler for a reason. Taking on the Riverside Rocky, Josecito Lopez, 38-8 with 21 knockouts. That's going to be the first fight of the broadcast. And then we get to the next fight. And you got lightweights, 10 rounds. You got a former champion taking on a young upcomer who has got dynamite in his hands. Jose Valenzuela. Kid is 11-0. He's got 7 knockouts. Taking on the former champion, Francisco Vargas, 27-3-2. He has 19 knockouts to his credit. This should be a really, really good fight. And listen, let's get right into it. And Jose, I got to start with you because you're facing a former champion at 130 pounds. How big of a step up is this for you? That's number one. And if you're victorious, what does this say about where you are in your development?
I think this is a great opportunity. You know, Bandido Vargas, he's a hell of a fighter. He has a lot of experience. You know, he's been tested in there with the best. I remember watching him growing up, so this is a dream come true. But I think it shows and it tells everybody, you know, I'm here to stay, and I can compete with the top guys.
Now let's talk with Francisco. And Francisco, listen, just like when you faced Isaac Cruz, you're now facing another young, another powerful fighter. Tell us why the result is going to be different this time around. Martin Bader will do the translation.
Hola, Francisco. Bueno, contanos qué es lo que va a ser distinto esta vez que estás enfrentándote a un oponente fuerte, poderoso, que seguramente va a ser un gran desafío. ¿Qué es lo que vos vas a poder corregir? ¿Qué es lo que vas a poder demostrar esta vez?
Bueno, ¿qué tal? Bueno, pues estamos trabajando aquí. Ahora estamos instalados acá en Las Vegas. Estamos haciendo un campamento en este lado. Creo que eso va a hacer mucho la diferencia. Estamos enfocados y sabemos que vamos a pelear con un muchacho que viene haciendo bien su trabajo, y pues estábamos haciendo una gran preparación para llegar listos a la pelea.
The fact that I'm training in Las Vegas, the way I am, with a great team, and the preparation and the adjustments that I've been making are really absolutely different than what I've been making recently, then, you know, I'm confident that I can put up a really great show on Saturday.
Jose, how important is it for you when you're facing someone that has the pedigree that Francisco has? Is it to get rounds and say, hey, look, I went all 10 with a former champion? Or in this case, is it, no, I want to make a statement and try to stop this guy?
I think make a statement, but, you know, I don't want to get carried away and you know, try to look for the knockout and then make a mistake. You know, I'm a stick with my game plan. If of course I can get him out of there, I will. You know, I think he's still a great fighter. He gave Isaac Cruz a run for his money. You know, he couldn't get him out of there. But you know, I think I'll be out there looking to outperform everybody he's fought.
Yeah. Francisco, a young guy who certainly wants to make his mark in this division. And what better way to beat someone of your pedigree? What about you? What are the ultimate things that Francisco Vargas wants to accomplish by winning this fight?
¿Cuáles son tus objetivos de máxima para esta pelea? ¿Qué es lo que querés lograr?
Bueno, mi objetivo es ganar la pelea, hacer una buena pelea y pues ganar para buscar una buena oportunidad.
My main objective is to win the fight. Nothing else matters. All I want is to win the fight in order to get the best possible opportunity after it.
So here we go. We got a young, hungry fighter taking on a veteran who's been established and been at the top of the mountain. They're going to collide here on April 16th. I know members of the media have got some questions for you guys. Let's bring in Mitch Abramson again from Showtime, and he will acknowledge you. Just hit the raise your hand icon, and you can ask your question.
Thanks, Brian. Let's go to Jeremy Herrages from Fansided.com. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hi, Jose. Hello, Francisco. These questions are for Jose. Jose, you talked about watching Francisco fighting when you were younger. Is it surreal to be stepping into a ring with one of those former champions that you grew up watching?
Yeah, definitely. I just remember watching him, coming up. My dad was a fan of his, and so he would put on great performances, great fights. Every time, all I can remember was just wars, and so I'm happy. I think this is the perfect opponent. I think he's gonna come to fight. I'm gonna come and fight. It's gonna be a hell of a show.
A lot of times we have the storyline where you have the youthful, emerging, young up-and-comer who's going to eventually become champion versus a former champion. Do you feel that this is pretty much the archetype for all those other examples, that this is kind of like a passing of the guard fight?
Yeah, definitely. I'm hungry. I'm young. I think he's past his prime now. I think he's on his way out. So definitely it could be like a passing of the torch, I guess you could say.
Final question for Francisco. Obviously, you've been through numerous wars. You've been in the fight game for a long time. How close to the end do you feel that you are at this point?
Has pasado por muchas batallas, has tenido muchas peleas. ¿Qué tan cerca te sentís de retiro en este momento?
Bueno, pues he tenido varias peleas. Todavía me siento bien físicamente. Creo que mi cuerpo me responde bien. Todavía no sé cuándo sea eso, pero cuando mi cuerpo ya no responde igual, pues va a ser cuando nos vamos a retirar.
I'm going to listen to my body. That's the bottom line. When I can feel that my body says no more, then that will be the time to step aside. For now, I feel like my body is just fine. I feel capable. I feel ready. And I'm going to be ready to go on Saturday, on that Saturday when the fight happens.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for that question, Jeremy. And let's go to Jake Donovan once more from Boxing Scene. Go ahead, Jake.
Thanks, Mitch. Jose, I wanted to ask, every time I talk to David or even Jose Sr., they just rave about the training facility that you're at, that I've never seen anything like it. I just wanted to ask first what it's like to be able to train with that team, and just if you can give us like some insight as to the state-of-the-art house and facility that you're at.
To be honest, it's a great experience. I feel like I'm young, but when I go out and I spar and I train with other fighters, I feel like I'm the veteran. But I think it's because I've been hanging around these top guys, since I was like 18, and getting to work with them, and then to be training at this beautiful mansion, Fight Star Camp. It's a great opportunity. I wake up, I go walk down to the gym, train, eat my breakfast, shower. I don't have to. I get my sleep, I get rest. It's a perfect camp. I can't wait to go out there Saturday and April 16th and put on a show.
All right, great. Jose, thank you so much, and best of luck to both of you.
All right, thanks, Jake. Let's now go to Wilfredo Suarez from Boxeo Cubano.
Esta pregunta es para Francisco Vargas. Francisco, muchos están mencionando tu edad, incluyendo a José, que dice que ya tú estás fuera de tu tiempo debido a tu edad. ¿Eso te motiva de alguna forma?
Let me translate this before, déjame traducir antes de que responda. So the question for Francisco is, does the fact that Valenzuela says that Vargas is out of his prime, on his way to retirement, is that something that motivates him? Francisco, responde.
Sí, claro que sí es motivante para mí, ¿no? Porque pues a lo mejor piensan que ya estoy grande y pues sí, ya tengo cierta edad, pero pues todavía estamos ahí trabajando duro y me siento bien físicamente, ¿no? Y eso lo vamos a mostrar el próximo 16.
Gracias, Francisco.
Of course it motivates me, but at the same time, I know how I feel, and I feel totally ready. I feel in shape physically and mentally to be up to the challenge, and I'm going to prove that to you all on Saturday, April 16th.
Jose, una pregunta, a question for you. Do you feel that because you're younger, the pressure is on you to perform against Francisco?
That's one of the reasons, another one is because I train very hard. I'm extremely focused, I'm fully focused. Even though he is past his prime, I still think he's a dangerous fighter. He has a lot of experience, so I'm taking this fight very, very seriously. I've already been in camp for like 3 months. So yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Great, thanks, Wilfredo. And we have next a question from Lennon Crisp. Lennon, I don't see your news outlet, so please identify who you're writing for. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Lennon Crisp, Sports and Culture Media. My first question is for Jose. Going into this fight, is there anything particularly different you did in training camp versus what you did in like other fights?
Just tightening it up a little bit. I know he has a lot of experience, so he's gonna be nice and tight with his defense. So I just also tightening up my defense, not get too wide with my punches, just like I do sometimes. But other than that, we're still working hard.
Okay. And my next question is for Francisco. Facing a young competitor in Jose, is it important to kind of keep the pace going, or is it just more trying to get the fight stopped as quickly as possible?
¿Cuál va a ser la estrategia? ¿Vas a intentar mantener el ritmo o vas a intentar salir a arrancarle la cabeza y terminar la pelea lo más pronto posible?
No, pues vamos a trabajar round por round. Estamos haciendo un buen trabajo para pelear todos los rounds.
We're just simply gonna work round by round, take things round by round. We're doing a great job in being able to withstand the whole fight if needed.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to the fight, guys.
Great. Thanks, Lennon. Appreciate it. Let's hear next from Crystal Hart. Crystal, go ahead with your question.
Oh, I think I just pressed that accidentally, but do you have anything, is everybody ready for this fight? Francisco Vargas?
So what's your question? Like if they have any additional comments, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, Francisco, ¿algún comentario adicional para esta pelea? ¿Qué te gustaría que la gente sepa?
Pues solamente que estamos haciendo una buena preparación para dar una gran pelea y pues que la pelea va a ser muy, muy entretenida.
I can promise you that it's going to be a great fight, a very entertaining fight. Fans are going to love it.
And Jose, same for you?
Yeah, I'm training extremely hard to put on a great show. I don't want to just win. I want to, look spectacular. So, keep an eye out for that.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Crystal. I think we're still waiting for the main event fighters. So if anybody has any more questions, please raise your hand. Maybe I'll throw in a question for you guys.
Hold on, Mitch. Let me get in there.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Francisco, if you could, when you're facing a young guy like this who certainly is hungry, how much does experience play in these kind of fights, and in what way does that experience help you in these kind of fights?
¿Cómo te sentís de cara a pelear contra alguien que es más joven, que es alguien que quizás siente como que le estás pasando la antorcha, cómo es que te sentís en tu lugar de esta pelea actualmente.
Me siento bien, me siento motivado porque sé que voy con alguien más joven que yo también pasé por esa edad y sabía que cuando estaba en esa edad pues estaba con todos mis sentidos, toda la energía lo tenía al 100%, pero pues ahora tengo experiencia, soy maduro, pero pues me motiva porque sé que tengo que llegar bien entrenado para hacerle frente.
I know what it feels like to be Jose's age. I was in his place at one point where I felt like I had all the energy in the world and basically I was gonna take over the world. But what I'm lacking in youth, I gained in experience. I have maturity now. So in this fight, you're gonna see how that cunning, that experience is gonna work in my favor.
Jose, what does it mean to you to be on this stage, pay-per-view, on probably one of the most significant fights of the year, when at the top of the card, it's a unification fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas, huge audience. What does that mean to you, especially here so early in your career?
Like I said, it's a dream come true. The whole card, I believe, is stacked. We got Errol Spence, Ugas, Cruz, So I'm very excited, I look to go out there and steal the show. Even though, those are great fighters, but it's just a dream come true. This is everything to me, everything I've worked so hard for. It comes down to this moment.
And can you see a future where eventually you see a Jose Valenzuela taking on like an Isaac Cruz, or he's got Gamboa? Could you see in the future you in those kind of fights with fighters like that?
Definitely. I've been calling out. I've been saying I would like to fight Isaac Cruz before the Tank fight. He's a hell of a fighter. I respect him a lot. And it would be a great opportunity for me to get in there with him. It's definitely a big fight I think we can make.
Absolutely. Francisco, I'm just curious. You talked about getting a win and getting the biggest fights for you in the future. How much are you yearning to become a world champion again?
¿Qué tanto te motiva? ¿Qué tanto deseas el poder tener la posibilidad de ser un campeón mundial nuevamente?
Bueno, pues ese sería mi objetivo, ¿no? Es lo que me motiva. Sabemos que tenemos que ganar esta pelea, sabemos que pueden venir buenas peleas, entonces estamos trabajando para eso.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. How are you?
Well, look, the bottom line is that we know that we have what it takes to win good fights, to put up good fights, and to take each step as it comes to face the challenges that we have in front of us.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Again, this is the second fight that will come your way on the pay-per-view broadcast. We'll begin the night with Cody Crawley against Josecito Lopez, and then we roll right into Jose Valenzuela, who is against the former world champion Francisco.
Would you like to add M&M
Vargas.
or a Butterfinger for $1.15?
If Crystal Hart, if you could mute your Zoom, that would be great for us. And then we would get into the fight before the main event, which would be Isaac Cruz, the pit bull, taking on Yordenis Gamboa. Isaac Cruz, he is 22, 2-1, 15 knockouts to his credit, taking on Yordenis Gamboa. Gamboa, 30-4. He's got 18 knockouts. Listen, Gamboa, we all know his story. Golden medalist in the Olympics, former world champion. At one point, he was a unified champion. And then Isaac Cruz, how many times have we seen him in exciting fights? I'm talking about coming off the fight against Tank Davis, where he pushed Tank Davis to the limits a lot of people see sky's the limit for Isaac Cruz and his career. So we have Cruz, we have Gamboa. That is the fight that will be the co-main, if you will, right before the main event. Isaac Cruz, if I'm not mistaken, is with us. Martin, I'm gonna understand you'll do the translation for us. If we could get Isaac on and have Isaac give us a statement about fighting on April 16th and seeing himself back into the ring, because the last time we've seen him was against Tank Davis.
Isaac, ¿nos escuchas bien?
Sí, Martín, sí lo escucho bien.
Excelente. Bueno, contanos entonces, ¿cuáles son tus... hacernos un favor, poner la cámara en horizontal si puedes, pero ¿cómo te sentís de cara a esta pelea? Y nosotros te vimos por última vez en el ring contra Tank Davis y dejaste una gran impresión. Ahora, contar a la gente cómo te sentís en este nuevo año.
Me siento muy contento, muy bendecido por empezar un nuevo año y bueno, nos estamos preparando para darlo todo y que no sea la excepción en esta nueva pelea contra Yordenis Gamboa.
I feel blessed. I feel so good in this new year, and we're getting ready to be able to give our all and keep showing the best that Isaac Cruz Jr. has to offer in 2022.
Fantastic. I assume Yordenis is with us as well?
Yordenis, ¿estás con nosotros?
Hey, we need to pull him in the back door.
Okay, so we'll work on getting Yordenis and his shot up with us. Let me follow up with Isaac Cruz. And Isaac, I think, obviously we're going to see you against Gamboa on April 16th, but there was a lot of chatter that Isaac Cruz was going to face Ryan Garcia. What happened there? And tell us why Yordenis Gamboa.
Bueno, se suponía que, había rumores de que ibas a pelear contra Ryan García en algún momento. La pregunta es, ¿por qué se cayó esa pelea? ¿Qué sucedió? ¿Y por qué finalmente elegiste pelear contra Yordenis Gamboa?
Pues porque nunca hubo una oferta real, nunca fue una negociación seria. Oscar de la Hoya le intentó hacer por redes sociales, el cual fue antiprofesional, y bueno, cuando mi promotor Sean Gibbons se puso o le contestó por vía Twitter, se esfumó todo el circo que estaban ellos creando por redes sociales.
There was never a real offer. There wasn't a real negotiation. Oscar de la Hoya, what he did was he tried to negotiate via social media, which I personally thought was unprofessional. And when Sean Gibbons replied via Twitter, then nothing really came of it anyway. So, that's when we pivoted and we went towards Gamboa anyway, because the Garcia fight was never anywhere close to becoming a reality.
And talk to us about, Isaac, your thoughts when you look back at the fight again against Tank Davis. What do you think about your performance? And when you looked at it again, did you say, maybe had I done this, I might have been successful in that fight? What is that?
Contanos, en la pelea contra Tank Davis, ¿qué pensás que quizás podrías haber hecho que decís, si hubiese cambiado este aspecto, si hubiese hecho este ajuste, podría haber sido exitoso?
Pues el presionar más, el haber dado una caída para Tank Davis fue lo único que nos faltó para que nos dieran la victoria el 5 de diciembre del año pasado.
I wish I had pressured more. Maybe if I had, taken him to the mat, like just knocked him down at least one more time, then I think on this, December 5th would have been a different story. It would have been me with my arm raised.
You certainly, I think, got yourself a whole lot of fanfare after that fight. What was it like after that fight? Because it seems like the boxing public, you certainly endeared yourself to the boxing public, and they were like the performance you put on.
Bueno, ¿qué sensaciones te quedaron después de esa pelea? Porque claramente la gente fue la que le dejaste una muy buena impresión y ahora es como que tu perfil se elevó. ¿Vos qué sensaciones tuviste después de esa pelea?
pues aún más motivado, con más ganas de brindarles a todo el público, a toda la gente, grandes peleas y me estoy preparando más cada día para brindarles unas excelentes contiendas.
Everything and that happened in that fight, that it made me better. And now, even though my profile is raised, I only get to my head. All I focus on is getting ready for my next fight and being able to provide the fans the show that they want, the show that they need, what they crave. And I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can give them.
Isaac, Yordenis Gamboa told the boxing media, quote, "I'm going to see on April 16th if Isaac Cruz can stand up to my power." How do you respond to that?
Bueno, Gamboa dijo que el 16 de abril a ver si Isaac Cruz puede aguantar mi poder, mi fuerza. ¿Qué le respondes?
Nada, no tengo nada que responderle. Yo voy a hablar el día 16 de abril arriba del ring. Yo me estoy preparando, yo me estoy enfocando en el oponente y él puede decir lo que quiera.
Look, I have nothing to say. What I have to say is that my punches are going to talk inside the ring. I'm ready for whatever he brings.
Fantastic. Well, who he brings is Yordenis Gamboa. I think we have him on. Let's see if we can get Yordenis up. And if we can, ask Yordenis if he could give us a statement about fighting April 16th and his opponent, Isaac Cruz.
Yordenis, ¿nos escuchás? Yordenis, ¿nos escuchás bien? Hola, hola.
Sí, sí, estoy escuchando.
Sí, hola. Entonces, ahí estamos. Perfecto. Si nos harías el favor de poner la cámara horizontal, por favor.
Estoy escuchando y algo que dijeron que no sé de dónde lo sacaron.
Sí, no, perfecto. Brian, could you please repeat the question so I can say to Yordenis?
Sure, Yordenis, if you would, talk to us about fighting April 16th on Showtime pay-per-view, and more specifically, your opponent, Isaac Cruz.
Contanos tus sensaciones de cara a pelear el 16 de abril y más específicamente, ¿cómo te sentís con Isaac Cruz como oponente aquel sábado?
Bueno, realmente me siento muy bien, ya que voy a tener una nueva pelea y voy a poder dar la oportunidad a todos los fanáticos y seguidores de poderme presenciar nuevamente.
I feel great, and the most important thing to me, what I value the most, is the fact that I'm going to be able to give fans the chance to see me fight once again and show them what I can do in the ring in Dallas.
Yordenis, you told the boxing scene that you are coming to make a big statement against Cruz on April 16th. What is that statement you're looking to make?
Vos ya dijiste, vengo a mandar un mensaje contra Isaac Cruz. ¿Cuál es ese mensaje y por qué te sentís de esa manera?
Ese mensaje yo nunca lo he dicho.
He says that like he never said that, but okay, entonces, ¿cómo te sentís de cara a la pelea contra Isaac Cruz? ¿Cuál es el mensaje que te gustaría mandar en esa pelea?
Yo quiero que, número uno, digan el mensaje que yo haya dicho, no que digan cosas que nunca he dicho. Eso es número uno que quiero dejarles de saber a ustedes, porque le están mandando un mensaje a muchachos que nunca lo he dicho ni me dedico a esa cosa. Yo soy un profesional y yo subo arriba del ring a demostrar quién soy. Yo no le mando mensajes a nadie ni le estoy diciendo a nadie. A mí simplemente lo que sí hay que demostrarme arriba del ring, que se viene a hacer una pelea, y es todo lo que voy a hacer yo.
I'm a pro. I'm not in the business of sending messages or making statements. What I'm focused on is trying to become number one and being the best that I can be inside the ring in order to be my opponent. The rest is just talk.
Yordenis, last time we've seen you fight, you had the fight with Davis, which was an all-action fight before he got the stoppage late in that fight. Then we saw you lose to Haney as well. That fight went the distance. Why then will this fight be different against Isaac Cruz, who's just as young and powerful?
Bueno, tus peleas contra Davis y Haney tuvieron resultados que quizás te gustaría haber podido cambiar, ¿no? Pero ¿por qué crees que esta vez contra Isaac Cruz Jr., un boxeador que es similar a tus oponentes del pasado, ¿por qué esto va a ser distinto? ¿Por qué el resultado va a ser positivo para Yordenis Gamboa?
Bueno, realmente nos estamos preparando con el objetivo de tener algo diferente y es la razón por la cual nos estamos enfocando. No hemos decidido definitivamente cuál va a ser el resultado, pero sí estamos enfocándonos para tener un objetivo mejor.
It's all about the preparation. We're getting ready to change the narrative, to change the outcome of the fight, and to make sure that with that kind of preparation, we can come out with the win on April 16th.
Is Yordenis Gamboa still one of the elite fighters of this weight division?
¿Es Yordenis Gamboa todavía uno de los boxeadores de elite de esta división? ¿Te sentís que tenés tu lugar en la cima de tu división?
Bueno, definitivamente, al estar en este combate, está dejándole saber a todo el mundo que soy uno de los boxeadores que se puede contar en esta división.
My mere presence in this fight, the way that we are being prepared for this fight and what's at stake, that alone says that I'm still one of the top fighters in the division.
I think what makes this fight really unique is that you have two guys who can really punch. I'm going to ask it to both of you. I'll start with you, Isaac Cruz. Power is going to be the difference in this fight.
Isaac, ¿crees que el poder va a ser la diferencia en esta pelea? ¿Que un golpe puede cambiarlo todo? ¿Estás mudo, amigo?
No sabré ahorita expresarlo, lo vamos a ver el día de la pelea, pero yo mientras me estoy preparando y enfocando para el 16 de abril.
It's really not for me to say whether one punch can change it all or not. What I'm focused on is being prepared and being the most ready I can be really for April 16th. We'll see what happens inside the ring that day.
Yordenis, same question for you. Do you believe power will be the difference in this fight?
Yo creo que sentí que la misma pregunta. ¿El poder va a ser la diferencia? ¿Que un golpe puede cambiarlo todo?
Bueno, en ocasiones, en un combate, un golpe puede cambiarlo todo, pero eso no sería definitivo en este caso porque hay un plan de trabajo, hay un plan táctico, hay un enfoque y definitivamente la última palabra la tiene Dios en ese 16 de abril.
In the end, God has the last word. I have a tactical plan. I have a strategy ready to go for whatever happens. I'm ready for whatever eventuality is in my way, and I'm planning to face anything and everything.
Lastly, I see Sean Gibbons is with us as well, one of the promoters there of Isaac Cruz. And Sean, I wanted to at least give you the opportunity to get your thoughts on this fight. And as I asked Isaac, we haven't seen him since the Tank Davis fight. And there are a number of people, he certainly endeared himself to a number of more fans after that fight. Why did we select Yordenis Gamboa? What should we expect?
Well, Brian, you nailed it on the head, man. People saw Isaac Cruz coming out party against Gervonta Davis. I mean, everybody thought Isaac Cruz was going to be an easy mark for Gervonta. He was going to take him out. He was no competition. And he literally ran Gervonta Davis almost out of the ring. So we're very excited. I mean, his Instagram handle went from 27,000 up to 185,000. So coming into this fight, there's a lot more expectations. People are excited to see him. And the reason Yordenis Gamboa was selected because he's a great fighter. He's a former world champion. He's an Olympian. He's a named fighter. He gave Gervonta a good fight, gave Devin a good fight. So it's a great gauge to see where Isaac Cruz does with him moving forward. And I don't care what people say, Gamboa always brings the A game, and better fighters bring out better fights in him. So we got a lot of respect for him, but I just think it's Isaac Cruz's time, and it's going to be a great night in Dallas, April 16th.
Fantastic. All right. I know there are members of the media who certainly want to ask Isak and Yordenis some questions. Let's get right to them. Mitch, if you would, allow members of the media to ask their questions.
Thanks so much, Brian. Let's go to Marco Perez from Boxeo de Colombia. Marco, go ahead.
Marco, estás en mudo. Sacale el mudo y ahí puedes hacer tu pregunta.
Ok, ahí perfecto. Muy buenas tardes para las dos, para Isaac y para Gamboa. Dos preguntas, una primero para Gamboa y luego para Cruz. Gamboa, ¿tú crees, cómo estás? Te ves bien, te ves bien. ¿Tú crees que esta pelea va a ser más de experiencia que esos golpes de poder que tú siempre has brindado en estos espectáculos?
Bueno, varón, definitivamente estamos en una edad longeva donde básicamente tenemos que acudir a la experiencia y fundamentalmente a la táctica en este combate.
Para Cruz.
Marco, déjame traducir esta pregunta. The question from Marco was, do you think that your experience and your power is gonna be the difference in this fight? And what Yordenis said was that, you know, he definitely does have the edge in experience, but at the same time, he's gonna rely on his preparation. He's gonna rely on the way that he set up his strategy in order to fight and be able to win any way he can.
Así es. Y esta pregunta para Pitbull. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? Pitbull, ¿tú crees que los tres primeros asaltos con Gervonta Davis que te fuiste que él intentó hacerte daño en esos primeros asaltos, sintió tus golpes y empezó a hacer una estrategia diferente? ¿Tú crees que con Gamboa, un hombre que quizás va hacia adelante siempre, las cosas van a ser muy diferentes, que van a intercambiar mucho?
Pues todos los rivales son diferentes. Sabemos que Davis hizo un plan de trabajo, llevaba una estrategia, y yo creo que Gamboa igual está haciendo otro plan de trabajo. Nosotros nos estamos preparando y enfocando para cualquier tipo de plan que Yordenis nos presente.
Muchas gracias.
The question from Marco was that in his fight against Gervonta Davis, Gervonta felt Isaac's power, and that maybe changed his game plan a little bit. Do you think that's going to happen again with Yordenis, to where maybe he expects one thing and gets another? And Isaac said that really each fight is different, and I'm going to be ready for whatever Yordenis has to offer. I'm getting ready in a great way, and I'm going to show you guys everything, all that new that I can provide inside the ring during that fight.
Great. Thanks so much, Marco. Thanks, Martin. Let's now go to Rick Mohammed from Brawler Sports Media. Go ahead, Rick.
Rick, you got
all right. How's everybody doing, guys? Rick Mohammed, Brawler Sports Media. Isak, after coming off of the type of fight that you had versus Tank Davis, like my man Brian Custer said, that catapulted you into like automatic superstardom. What will you do differently fighting Gamboa? Will it be pretty much the same fight plan? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Or, of course, you got to make adjustments based on the style fighter that he is. And I do believe that you are the new superstar coming up in this division. What can the fans expect out of you being on this big stage and this big platform come April 16th?
Bueno, Rick te está denominando como lo que él piensa que sos la nueva superestrella de esta división, que la pelea contra Gervonta Davis te catapultó a un nivel en el que no estabas antes. Ahora, contra Gamboa, ¿vas a mantener la misma mentalidad, la misma estrategia? O sea, básicamente, si no está roto, no lo arregles, o vas a ajustar algo en cuanto a táctica o estrategia o mentalidad para esta pelea contra Gamboa.
Estamos trabajando todos los puntos, estamos trabajando en lo bueno y en lo malo, en lo favor y en contra de Yordenis Gamboa, y bueno, nosotros nos estamos preparando física y mentalmente para salir con la victoria el 16 de abril.
We are working on absolutely everything. We have studied Gamboa in depth, and we're working on everything that we think is good and bad, in his favor and against him. I'm not really going to reveal anything specific at this point, But what I can promise you is that we're going to be ready on Saturday, April 16th.
Thank you, champ. And for Gamboa being the pedigree fighter that you come from and represent your country, Cuba and everything, and all the success and accolades that you've had in the sport of boxing, you're still in the hunt to become a world champion again. Do you feel like your experience, all the ring savviness that you bring to the ring will be enough to outwit Isak and get the victory? And of course, like you said earlier, power is the key. Strategy, power, and who's going to be the better man that night. What's your take on your performance? And all those things definitely a factor come April 16th.
Bueno, sabemos que estás orgulloso de representar a tu país, a Cuba, dentro del ring, y que a la misma vez también posiblemente tu experiencia y tu poder sean la clave, como mencionaste antes. ¿Sentís que la combinación de tu experiencia, tu poder y tu mentalidad van a marcar esa diferencia en la pelea?
Bueno, realmente estamos tratando de llevar a cabo todas las opciones en esta preparación, con el objetivo de mostrarle a todos los fanáticos, a todos los seguidores y a la televisión que todavía Gamboa está en una posición correcta para seguir adelante.
Look, I'm going to show everybody that's watching on TV, that's going to be in the stands, it's going to be ringside, that Yordenis Gamboa is still here to stay, that Yordenis Gamboa can still be the best in the division. That's going to be the ultimate goal on Saturday, April 16th. You're going to see it.
Thank you, champ. Good luck to both of you guys on April 16th. And a shout out to my man, Sean Gibbons. Respect. Let's go, champ.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Thanks, Martina. Appreciate it. Let's now go to Kirk Jackson from the Scope Network. Go ahead, Kirk.
Thank you, Mitch. I have questions for both Isak and Yordenis. I would like to start with Isak.
Go ahead.
What do you take away from your last fight against Gervonta Davis as far as going against the power, the skill, the speed, the overall experience that will lead you to success in your fight against Yordenis Gamboa?
Bueno, Isaac, ¿qué conclusiones sacaste de tu pelea contra Gervonta Davis que sentís que te pueden ayudar para tu pelea contra Gamboa tras haber enfrentado el poder, a la dinámica de un boxeador como Gervonta?
Bueno, pues me ayudó a ser más enfocado, a estar en todo momento dentro de la pelea y estar todavía aún más motivado para brindar grandes espectáculos y dar a conocer al mundo que un mexicano va a dar de qué hablar en 135 libras.
I learned a valuable lesson because during that fight I learned that I have to be focused inside the fight at every moment. I can't lose my focus at any time. And I'm going to show people that I'm the Mexican fighter that can rule the 135-pound division. I can promise you that.
Do you feel like in your fight against Gamboa that you not only have to win, but you have to win in dominant fashion to be considered in the same esteem as the other superstar lightweights in your division, such as Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, George Kambosos, Vasil Lomachenko?
Bueno, Haney, Kambosos, Davis, Lomachenko, ellos están en la cima de la división, son considerados los cuatro fantásticos, ¿verdad? ¿Sentís que tenés que no solo ganarle, sino que ganarle de forma dominante a Gamboa para unirte a ese cuarteto y hacerlo un quinteto de favoritos en la división?
Pues yo me estoy preparando para lo que tenga que durar la pelea, sea un round, sean los 12 rounds, yo me estoy enfocando para brindar un gran espectáculo y nosotros vamos a hacer lo propio, vamos a trabajar duro para dar una sorpresa ahí a los grandes nombres que están en el 135 como campeones.
Okay, two things. I'm preparing to fight however long it takes to get that win. 1 round, 12 rounds, doesn't matter to me. I have to win and I have to put on a show for the fans. I'm well aware of that. And then, trust me, I'm going to be ready to show those 4 fighters that you mentioned that I can fight any of them and I belong right up there with any of them.
I love that. And my last question for you, Isak. Some observers may describe your style as awkward, but overwhelming with pressure and tough to deal with. Do you think that will scare some fighters away? Or do you feel like because of the added visibility that you have fighting Gervonta Davis and now fighting Gamboa, that this may actually lead to more guys wanting to fight you because of the potential lucrative paydays?
¿Sentís que tu nueva exposición, tu nueva plataforma combinada con tu reputación de ser un pitbull, de ser un boxeador que va y te quiere arrancar la cabeza, eso va a hacer que tus futuros oponentes quieran pelear contra vos más o que te quieran evitar?
Pues ahora sí que dependiendo de cada uno, si se quiere consolidar, si nos va a querer enfrentar. Pero si nos quieren dar la vuelta, pues nos van a evitar, ¿no? Entonces nosotros vamos a trabajar y presionar para que no tengan escapatoria y enfrentar a los mejores de la división.
It's really up to them. If they want to, showcase themselves, if they want to show that they belong, then they for sure are gonna want to fight against me. And if they want to go around me, then or they are kind of intimidated by me, then they're not gonna want to fight me. But I'm gonna make sure that whoever doesn't want to fight me, I'm gonna step in front of them and be like, no, I'm here, and you're gonna have to face me because Isaac Cruz Jr. is here to stay.
Thank you, Isaac. And my next question for Yordenis. Yordenis, you have one of the more decorated resumes of any active fighter in recent memory, going against Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Ponce de Leon, Orlando Salido, Terrence Crawford. What inspires you to continue your career competing at a high level going into your 40s?
Tu currículum es intachable. Los oponentes que has tenido, las peleas que has forjado son impecables. Pero ¿qué es lo que te motiva para querer seguir peleando al máximo nivel a medida que te acercás al atardecer de tu carrera y llegando a los 40 años?
Lo que me motiva es el coraje que tengo y la disciplina y el deseo de ser una vez más campeón del mundo.
What motivates me is the courage, the discipline, and the fire that burns inside of me to become a world champion once again.
Now, in spite of your great accomplishments and the resume of fighters you've gone against, do you feel like your career may be underrated? And does a victory over Isaac Cruz help change that narrative and add some respect to your name?
¿Sentís que en tu carrera quizás la gente subestima lo que has logrado y que quizás una victoria contra Isaac Cruz cambiaría esa narrativa y que te daría el reconocimiento que sentís que mereces?
Definitivamente muchas personas están ignorando mi calidad deportiva basado en la edad, pero el 16 de abril van a ver una diferencia.
Definitely a lot of people are overlooking what I still have left in the tank, what kind of quality fighter I still am. But people are going to see that just noise, and they're going to see the difference that there can be between us on April 16th.
Great. Thank you, Kirk. Lots of good nuanced questions there. Let's wrap things up here with a final question from Wilfredo Suarez from Boxeo Cubano. Wilfredo.
Isaac, ¿cómo estás, campeón? Willy Suárez de Boxeo Cubano. Campeón, Gamboa, como boxeador amateur, lo ha conquistado todo. Medallas de oro olímpicas, panamericana. Como boxeador profesional, lo ha hecho todo. Campeón mundial. Y le ganó en su momento a Salido, que como tú, en su momento fue considerado el pitbull. ¿Qué significa para ti, como un joven boxeador mexicano, pelear con un guerrero como Yordenis Gamboa, con todo el resumen que él tiene?
Pues en primer punto le agradezco la oportunidad igual que me está brindando para poder pelear contra él. Respeto y es admirable lo que ha hecho en su carrera desde amateur. No cualquiera lo consigue, pero yo estoy aquí porque no le voy a regalar nada a nadie de lo que yo he conseguido, que me ha costado bastante lograr y adquirir lo que tengo. Y bueno, yo me estoy preparando para lograr lo que él en su momento tuvo, el campeonato del mundo.
Gracias, campeón. Y una pregunta para Yordenis.
Déjame traducir esta. The question was, with Yordenis Gamboa's notable resume from the Olympics, through his opponents and now wanting to be a world champion once again, how do you feel about fighting an opponent of the caliber of Yordenis Gamboa? And Isaac said that, first of all, I respect him and I thank him for giving me the opportunity of getting to fight him. And, you know, his resume, everything that he has done as an amateur and as a professional, that's beyond reproach. That's something that's admirable no matter how you look at it. However, I'm not here to give up anything for anybody. I'm here to show that I can be one of the top fighters in the division and that I can stand in front of anybody, no matter how many medals, how many trophies, how many titles they have, because I'm coming for everybody.
Gracias, Martín. Una pregunta para Gamboa. Gamboa, de tus últimos oponentes, o de hecho, en toda tu carrera, uno de los oponentes que menos ha hablado o te ha faltado el respeto ha sido Isaac, que me sorprende que ha sido muy respetuoso contigo y con tu carrera. Pero sin embargo, tú me dijiste a mí y dijiste aquí hace un ratico que tu sueño es ser campeón mundial una vez más. Y Isaac está en el camino de tú cumplir esa meta. ¿Qué tienes que hacer tú contra Isaac para poder convertirte en campeón mundial?
Bueno, realmente lo que tengo que hacer es tener una victoria, que es lo que me define ser un campeón mundial. Ir alcanzando la victoria hasta el objetivo que me pongan a pelear por el título.
The question for Wilfredo was that Isaac has been actually one of the most respectful opponents that Yordenis has ever had. There hasn't been any kind of trash talk, really. So, but then again, Isaac is the one that's in your way to become a world champion. What do you feel like you have to do? And then Yordenis said that regardless of what happens, it's really up to me to get the win. Doesn't matter what anybody says. If I prepare the right way and I can do the things that I know how to do, then everything I want to accomplish is still very much on the table.
Fantastic. I want to thank the media for some great probing questions, and I'm going to swing it back to Brian for a final wrap.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate it. Yordenis and Isaac, you know, I think we'll wrap it up with this. You know, I know in the past when I've asked you guys this question, you said, listen, I want the big fights in this weight division. Isaac, you had always said, I want Tank Davis. Yordenis, you said, I want the big fights. I want Tank Davis. Well, you both have fought Tank Davis now. So who is the big fight? Who's the big fish after this fight? Who's the big fish that Isaac Cruz, that Yordenis Gamboa wants? Let's start with Yordenis.
Bueno, ustedes dijeron anteriormente que querían pelear contra el pez gordo. Bueno, ambos ya pelearon contra el pez gordo, Gervonta Davis. Si ganás esta pelea, ¿cuál es el próximo pez gordo? ¿A quién tenés en la mira?
Bueno, realmente yo pienso que una vez que peleé con Isaac Cruz y logre una victoria, creo que me deberían poner a Davis, porque ya basado a la pelea que tuve con Davis, peleé 11 rounds con un pie partido y creo que eso no fue justo tener una pelea así con esa ventaja. Y me quiero de quitarle esa espina porque definitivamente no me sentí cómodo peleando así, aunque llegué a 12 rounds, fue muy fuerte de mi parte y me sentí orgulloso de haber terminado, gracias a Dios que me dio la oportunidad de terminar el 12 round, pero no me sentí cómodo, no desarrollé mi plan táctico ni mi técnica correctamente para pelear de frente.
When I win against Isaac Cruz, I want the rematch with Davis because I really didn't feel comfortable with the way that first fight unfolded. And, you know, thank God that I was able to withstand everything and I was able to get to the finish against Gervonta. But I felt that the way that fight went wasn't what I wanted at all. So I need another bite at the apple. I need to face him once again, and I need to show everybody that I can beat him.
Me refiero al pie mío que tuve el talón de Aquiles partido y los 11 rounds con David no me sentí cómodo, no me sentía cómodo, no tenía apoyo correctamente. Es la razón por la cual quisiera tener una pelea donde yo me sienta cómodo con él y pueda desarrollar mi maestría deportiva correctamente.
Now, to be clear, why did I not feel comfortable? Because my Achilles heel was just, you know, shattered. And imagine having to go 11 rounds feeling like that. So I want to fight him when I'm healthy. If I can feel healthy and 100%, that fight is going to be totally different.
And the same to Isaac.
Bueno, Isaac, misma pregunta. Entonces, Si dijiste anteriormente que querías pelear contra el pez gordo, ya peleaste contra el pez gordo en tu última pelea, ¿no? Digamos que le ganás a Gamboa. ¿Cuál es tu estrategia, tu objetivo para llegar a la cima? ¿A quién querés?
Pues como lo he comentado en varias ocasiones, quiero salir primero de este compromiso con la victoria y bueno, posteriormente que me quiera dar la oportunidad a George Camboso, Haney, Lomachenko o Davis.
Well, like I said before, I'm going to say it again. First things first, gotta win this fight. When I win this fight, then bring on anybody that you want. Lomachenko, Haney, Davis, anybody. Bring them on. I'm going to be ready for any of them.
Folks, I'm telling you, this is why this co-main is going to be really good. You got Isaac Cruz, the pit bull, taking on Yordenis Gamboa, former unified world champion, Olympic gold medalist, two guys who've got really big, thick hands, dynamite in their paws. They're going to slug it out. April 16th, Showtime pay-per-view. The main event, Errol Spence Jr., Yordenis Ugas, unification in the welterweight division. This card is stacked from top to bottom. Cody Crawley, Josecito Lopez will begin the pay-per-view night. Jose Valenzuela, Francisco Vargas will come next. And then it's Isaac Cruz versus Yordenis Gamboa. And again, it is Saturday, April 16th. It is a 4-fight pay-per-view card on Showtime pay-per-view. And it all comes down at the AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys. It's promoted by TGB Promotions, Man Down Promotions. Tickets on sale right now at SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. I'm Brian Custer. I want to thank all the members of the media for joining us, all the fighters for joining us. We will see you Saturday, April 16th on Showtime pay-per-view.
Let's go.